It's carried. 11.4 DS2 2023, joining the Partners for Climate Protection. Who pulled that one? Go ahead, Councilor DeRose.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I love the idea behind this. However, I know the budgetary status says joining the partner on page 1, joining the Partners for Climate Protection program does not have a fee, but then it talks about 5 milestones on page 3. And I just wondering if staff, before we commit to this, because I believe personally, I teach in Thorold, been for my whole life pretty well. I think Thorold staff and residents try to do their best in regard to what we can do to help mitigate climate damage. But I'm just wondering, these milestones on page 3 have, there's 5 milestones, and I'm sure there's a cost associated with them. Has staff looked at that yet? If anybody on staff could answer, I'd appreciate it. So I'm talking about the milestone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Who's going to? Jason? Go ahead, Jason.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd actually like to refer the question to Meghan Birbeck, our senior.
Hi, so through the chair, for the milestones, so as the councillor pointed out, joining the Partners for Climate Protection has no cost, but it offers us different tools to help us tackle all of these 5 milestones. So the really only fee that's involved would be staff time. The creation of a baseline emissions inventory would actually help us fulfill a requirement that we are mandated to do, which is an energy consumption and demand management plan. That's required to be done by the province every 5 years. So I believe it's either this year or next year that the city would have to do an energy conservation demand management plan and send that plan, which would be a 5-year plan, to the province. For that plan, we do report annually. These reports are done, I believe, through Public Works / Finance. So the reports are done, they usually look at the energy that's used, but they also leave an opportunity and encourage us to look at the greenhouse gas emissions that are being done through electricity, natural gas, propane, or any sort of energy sources that we use in the city. So that first milestone there on page 3 is the creation of a baseline emissions inventory, which kind of goes hand in hand with that energy consumption and demand management plan that is a provincial requirement to be done. And then the next milestone is to set emissions reduction targets. So in the tools that we would be receiving from the PCP program, it would give us we would be inputting the emissions into their software, and from there it would help us kind of identify what reductions would be able to be done, and that's a pretty simple milestone in terms of we would just set an emissions target that would be realistic from the emissions, and then we would bring that to council for council to discuss. So milestone 2 would be staff time plus council's endorsement that would help us meet that milestone 2. Milestone 3 would take those emissions, the reduction targets, and actually come up with action items through a plan to get that reduction done. Again, that would be staff time with all the free resources that is offered by the PCP program. Those action items would also go hand in hand with that energy consumption demand management plan, because in that plan, we're required to have a plan of how we're going to manage our energy So by reducing our energy, we would also, in theory, be reducing our greenhouse gases. It's a thought that when you put the 2 and 2 together, milestone 4 would be implementing the plan, which would be then could involve different aspects of the municipality, from staff time to staff resources and fees. But those implementing those action items would be, again, kind of going hand in hand with that energy consumption demand management plan, and then monitoring every year and reporting back to the PCP program. So we actually get a substantial amount of free resources that would help us, in theory, be able to do an in-house energy consumption demand management plan. Many municipalities put that plan out to consultants to work on. I myself have worked on that and climate change action plan, so I have that background in doing that for West Lincoln in particular. We're still working to get our staff resources working as effectively as possible, but I know many municipalities can use things like students, either high school students, co-op students, of different resources. So from my opinion, it wouldn't be adding a substantial amount of time to get this done, because we do need to get that energy consumption demand management plan done, and would, in theory, help us save money by not having a consultant do that plan and doing it in-house with the free resources.
Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Megan. Thanks for the detailed explanation, but I just wanted some numbers. I want to know how much this is going to cost us, because I need actual figures before I'm going to support something. And you said you've done it before. I know you're saying in kind. That costs taxpayers money, right? So I need some actual figures, and I don't see any. So I can't support this at this time without actual numbers. I know it's in kind, but they're numbers. They're taking away staff that are very busy right now, but I appreciate your answer.
Thank you, Councillor Hanley.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to defer it, just on the simple fact that I'd put a motion forward previous in regards to an organization review and the possibility of enhancement of more staff members, and to me, it's a great explanation as to why, but at the bottom line, it sounds as if there may be a position that needs to be hired, and I'm asking that defer it, and it be discussed during the budget deliberation, because there's obviously going to be a cost associated with it, and seeing what we discussed earlier tonight, in light of that, we have a lot of things on the table this year.
So you're deferring it. We don't need, we're not going to have a discussion on it. A deferral motion. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Longo. Okay, there's no debate on the deferral motion. We have
So I just want to confirm, Mr. Mayor, the timeline for this is a deferral to deal with after budget, or are you referring it to budget deliberations?
Referring it to budget deliberations.
Thank you.
okay. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay. Items for consideration. FES 1 2023 capital expenditure